So who, out of all of the animals, humans and anything else, and then let's say if imagine it, that in the universe it was all these beings that were all collected together, and they all come together with humanity and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all sipping back our strange beers and smoking on our weird plants that we've accumulated over a lifetime's worth of weirdness. And we get onto a subject, right?
Yeah.
We all see, but do we all see the same? The question for that would be an answer of, no, we don't all see the same. But the next question that I would like to, whilst supping and smoking with the massive group of collected beings, if you could communicate with them all and they had some sort of translator that could translate and communicate with animals, a bit like Google Translate to people in another world, not comparing you to animals, but imagine that same process but used with animals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you hear someone talking a native tongue,
Yeah.
this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Might even understand a word, and then the Google Translate says, oh, this person would like a cup of tea. Yes, no problem, 2 sugars. Okay. Right. Yeah, this and this. Imagine that, but with animals. So that you set it to like dolphin, and it was like, hi, how are you? And then the dolphin's like, I understood that. I'm very well. Yeah, right. And then you got a different animal, different one. Yeah, let's say we're all sitting around together, these life forms, and we get on a subject, because I'd like to bring this subject up with all of them. Who, out of all of us, if any, are actually seeing in the truest format?
What is the truest format?
Well, think about it. If a light is on a spectrum and you're only limited to this much, who is truly seeing correctly?
Are we seeing the most, maybe?
Huh?
Who has biggest
Who has the
range
biggest
of the
spectrum? Yeah,
spectrum?
there is that, yes. Yeah. Even cameras aren't even there. They're a little bit more on a spectrum. So cameras can see infrared, among other things anyway, but we'll stick with the infrared because it seems to be most prevalent. You just get a remote control and shine it into your camera.
Yeah.
Is that a right word to say, shine? Yes, I guess it is.
Yeah, the camera sees you differently than me when I look at you slightly. Yeah, I can see that already. On the screen and without screen.
Mm-hmm. So we say infrared and different things like that, which it picks up pretty well. Mm-hmm. Who is seeing in the truest format? I think it's the camera. Well, I don't think it is. Mm-hmm. It's seeing a bit better, but not quite. It's not the full picture. Because we've adjusted and set a camera through different filters to mimic what the human can see.
For ourselves.
Yeah. So we have to set it in that benchmark. Yeah. How do you not know? You don't come across, let's say, this particular intelligent life was like, here, take my computer and write in my phone. I can't see the screen. You just passed me a blank, something blank. Wait, what? No, it's on here. No, you type on this one. I can't see it. Oh, why not? I don't know. Oh, can you see mine? No, I can't see yours. Oh, okay. Well, that's because we've set it. Now we need to get their computer, whatever it may be, and I need Mark Zuckerberg or someone from Google to come and do their coding or tweaking, let's say, to tweak that into the ratio of what a human can see. And then like, now I can see it. Yeah. You've broke it. No, I haven't. We'll tweak it back. See how that's human and not human. Yeah. Then, it poses more of a question, really, doesn't it? Pandora's box has just been opened and we are diving in. So, who is seeing in the truest form of being able to see? And then, if none of us, or one has, you said, had the biggest amount of spectrum, hopefully they would be able to make a device that allows you to see, and that's if your eyes could see it. So you probably wouldn't be able to look at it with your eyes. Even if they made a device that mimicked what they could see, you probably still wouldn't be able to see it. You'd need a camera that was slightly tweaked again to be able to see more of this and put it onto a screen so that you could then see in what they were seeing. You would need an awful lot of different devices in order to see in their truest form. And you're like, whoa. And then you'd ask another question. If there is more wavelengths of light and refraction, reflection, and sight recepting, you need to see them all. And then when you only truly see them all, then are you truly seeing? Think about it. Think about it, because it's very complex, isn't it? It's very hard to wrap your head around that, right?
Yeah.
And then perhaps when you first put this to see in all, it's going to be so overwhelming that the brain just cannot deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then would that be seeing like the universe sees? And then, wait, there's something else over there.
Yeah.
What are those over there? What's that over there?
Mm.
There's something flying around. There is, but I can't see it. None of us can see it. Oh my! But you see it? Look, there's something over. Now you're starting to see other things. Oh, it's here. And then pose another question. Why can't I feel it? Why it goes through me? Wait, it must be it. No, don't start with a ghost, Harold. It definitely ain't ghosts. This is a life form. Let's see if we can
Something else, yeah.
Oh wait, it's coming around the device. You can obviously see the device. Or something is coming out of the device. Or finding a light that they can see and lure them with it. And then you'd have to wear a suit that made that light. Then they'd be able to see you. Again, it was very interesting. But then, how are they able to travel through you? Well, there's a lot of empty space in between you. We did say this before on the last one. That would be very interesting. How do you not know that we're not all baubles on a tree, but we just can't see the tree, be in space? And how do we not know that there aren't other baubles within that can travel straight through the Earth? Two Earths can travel through each other, given the definition of it. But yet, neither one can see the other. Neither one can experience the other. Until you get into that spectrum, clicking in that spectrum. Again, this would lead me on to another question with the group whilst we're supping and smoking, and well, I would be, they would have their own stuff, and then we would be asking another question. So, or someone else would ask the question, because, you know, I just opened Pandora's box and just sort of lured this one in front of you, and somebody else would say, so who hears, right? There we are. Now we're moving on to something. So who hears correctly? Now, we can compare this on our own planet. Dolphins, sonar, we could say that, couldn't we? Whales, cats. Keep going. Keep on going and going and going.
Someone has higher, someone hears from long distance sounds, someone has sonar, someone hears deep sound, really.
Yeah, high pitch, deep, low, high. Right, and then you got to ask the question then, what type of brain would you need to think about it, to pack it around the earlobe? How many different ear holes would you need? How many different receptors would you need attached to that?
And would just adding, for example, bigger earlobe for certain sounds work? Not for all, but for certain ones?
Well, yes, I guess the lobe, the hole, the let's say the spring, the I can't remember what it's called now. You say the drum. We have to, you know, and then we've got fish which don't. They have a type of hearing. It's very weird. It's a strange type of hearing. You know, I often feel that it's strange, but feeling is hearing. It's the primitive version for me personally. I think the first thing that got hearing going was feeling. Came first. Feeling, reading the room, feeling on the vibe. That was first. Then it evolved into ears, I think. So you would need multiple of these, let's say, sensors, and then the brain. The brain would. You need much more headroom, that's for sure, even with the eyes. So we would say that if this portion is responsible for vision, which I often thought it was at the back, because you always want to blink. Anyway, but still. So I don't know if it is. It really reminds you want to blink when you hit the back of the head. It's very eyes, but I'm not sure. Again, headaches at the back, usually eye strain, right? I think it's the back, isn't it, responsible for eyes? It might not be. Anyway, but still, you need an awful lot of brain matter for that. A ton of energy. We always overlook that. But how much brain? And then that brain would then have to know what each sound was doing, and then you would need a diffuser to not overload the circuit. So when I'm focusing on a sound and there's a lot of noise around me and I'm trying to focus on something that is making a sound over there, I can shut all of this out. But it also works with the eyes as well. So already I just did it now. I'm trying to focus in on a sound over there, which I can hear. It sounds like a squirrel to me. But as I zone into that, the eyes help the ears zone, which is, I just don't understand that at all. And all of this disappears and the focus heightens over there. And so do the ears. And then I lose track of all the sounds here. It's almost like they disappear. Not quite. They lower. And yet the sight also lowers it. Everything bleaches out, if you like, blurs. And this becomes the main focal point. You know, teaching the eyes to focus on one particular thing at a time. Everything else has to blur out in order for the thing you're looking at to become interesting. Technically, for you to be able to see it. If not, you can zoom right out and see it all. Or you zoom right in and you focus on something and everything else washes away. Almost as if it's not there at all. In certain situations with sound, you get the same thing. So in that instance, you have a diffuser. Diffusing all the noise makes it into unaudible. Now that's fascinating to me. That's a very impressive piece of the brain, working with the ear, basically I like to call it the cancellation. This led me on to thinking about fish, that when you lift them out of water, they see in air the same way you do without goggles going into water. Very cloudy, lots going on, too murky, and we're talking most water. You've ever gone underwater? You barely see fuck all, right? Fish out of water see the same way, but when you put them back into water, they've automatically got this cancellation. You don't see the air. Fish would probably see the air. If there was a way, sounds very morbid, to tap into a fish brain and use the eye as a camera in the fish. So perhaps science moves on and you're able to very delicately, without damaging the fish or anything else, lower in a sensor or a probe, let's say, I'm not sure what it would be, and you're able to tap into the eyesight of a fish and put it on a screen. So it comes up on a TV screen. The first thing you would notice when you lift the fish out of the water is how blurry everything's got. And people go, oh, what's that? Well, I can assure you that's the atmosphere. They're seeing all of that particle. They weren't born into that atmosphere. They were born into a more compressed atmosphere. Water is compressed atmosphere. So, you know, in our atmosphere, it's moist. All of this that we're walking in is a liquid, but it's very weird to understand it. Go into space, very dry. Very dry. Atmosphere is liquid. Just, it's not as dense. And when you compact the atmosphere, you then get liquid, which is dense atmosphere. So water is dense atmosphere. Well, fish have been born into that. Their brain has cancelled it. So they're not focusing in on that. Now, I bet that when you put them back in the water, you'll be shocked at how far they can actually see. Although they'll say the eyes are at the sides. Yeah, I think that's helpful when you've got eyes at the sides. These types of animals, when they're being hunted by a predator, move very quickly. Will swim one way when something's coming up to it and dart the other way very quickly. You need to be able to see the side motion of it, of your predator, to know how big it is. It's very important, that. Eyes at the front, they'll say you must be a hunter or this, that and the other. Well, yeah, because you're focusing on chase. You're chasing after something. You're going for something. The thing that's running from you is going to dart away from you. And most of them that do learn to dart survive. Because they outmaneuver you. Because they get to your blind spot. But you're then in their visual range. Very interesting, isn't it? And anything that will get another human will always creep up behind you. It's probably just as well that you don't see it. Things that sneak up behind you, what's over and done with before you know it, depending on what it is. And if you were going to go for a cat or some animal that's looking forwards, you best be behind the thing rather than it be behind you, because you can't see it. Eyes at the side, especially if you've got stigma, that's a big wide field of view. Sure, you're not seeing the front, but often aren't they very narrow?
And you can
You can move your head, but a
for
fish
that little.
technically, it has
When
to
they
bend the body.
when they swim, they kind of.
They fish, they snake.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you take that into field of view. You
Yeah.
see, this information is always often left out in humans because we just think, oh, they see the slide, dish, end of story. Like you already know, but it's technically it's not. It's not. It's not as black and white as that. So who hears the truest sounds? And then, if you were to build this into a human, you'd need a diffuser or a focuser. I mean, trying to make a microphone focus on one particular sound. I mean, I think Google are coming somewhere with that noise cancellation. So it focuses on one particular sound. I think that's pretty interesting. So again, part of what's already in the ears, let's say, or the brain is able to say, okay, I want to hear this sound. How does your brain know to focus in on that sound? You must be doing something. How are you telling that to do that? You know, I guess it's because it's every day. You're born into it. You do it so much, it just becomes second nature. So it then becomes a question, and it just does, which is not years worth of practice. Which that's what it all boils down to. Eyesight, being able to focus in on something, years worth of practice.
Yeah, it is.
So I think that's what it boils down to, and we often overlook that and give it that blank statement of, oh, it just is. No. Lots of training, probably lots of getting it wrong. I just can't hear it. Oh yeah, now I can hear it. Ah, Eureka, you're getting somewhere. But who sees the truest? Who hears the truest? And then it leads me on to something else, which, you know, before I go and close the lid on Pandora, you've been beautiful today. Who thinks?
Who thinks?
Who thinks in the truest form? Who has the brains are a spectrum too, you know. When we look at what animals can do compared to all of the life forms, and then what you can do. Yeah, your envelopes is bigger, but if you could combine all of what they do, all of that knowledge, knowing what to eat, what not to eat, what is toxic, what isn't toxic, how to find out what is toxic and what's not toxic, how has all of the animals known that this food here has to be eaten just by taking the hairs off of a certain leaf? If you eat the whole leaf, you die. And that's without communicating animals. They're not communicating with each other to know that that particular primate just ate a load of those leaves and then died. But the others went on to just, again, how did you know to do that? And what's more, how did you teach it?
And there are animals who are born and their parents do not care for them because they are already developed enough. So no one shows them like other young animals.
So
and they know as well,
on the spectrum,
so it's there.
It's spectrum based, but split up like a cake. One piece of life form over there, you'll have this much intelligence, but it will go in that direction. Earthlings, you'll have this much intelligence, and you will have this much of intelligence. And then the universe separates us so we don't overwhelm too quickly, too fast, because the brain just perhaps, you have to learn it. And then if you meet another life form and they teach you some pretty nifty things you never thought of doing, you'll also be teaching them. It will be, again, combining. And when you've combined that, you now have this new central knowledge. So 1, 2 will always create 3, and then you meet someone else. 2 and 2 combine, now create 3 again. You are condensing. It's the missing link to Earth and humans, humanity. Is combining, and much like hydrogen, helium, compressing 2 hydrogen, get helium, compress helium, and so on and so on. But now that life form over there teaches you what they're doing in a different direction, and you teach them. 2 pieces of information come together, and I answered my own question from my last video. Now that's how I think it's done. So yes, you can combine quantum. Think about that. I like to say think about it because we are thinking about stuff openly. It's open for a debate. So you've just taken some quantum from there, some quantum from here, and now you've got a new type of quantum. And that becomes your baseline. You'll never go back to that, and they'll never go back to that, because this one's far more factual and gives more. Widening the field. Then can the human mind will have to adapt with this new knowledge. And then the next generation that are born, will the brain change on both sides of the species? Will it make room for this new knowledge? A lot to think about as well. And then when another breakthrough happens and a breakthrough happens on the other side, again, combine the knowledge. Combine it, grow. Slowly but surely, the brain will have to take time to develop with that. Very interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Slow phase thing. That would be an evolution, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because the head would, that would be cool. That would be good. Wow. So, who thinks correctly? We always look at one another as life forms.
Yeah.
That person seems a bit slow. That person seems intelligent. That person seems... Overall, it's a shared intelligence, really.
Yeah.
And then from over there, combine that.
Yeah.
These people here that you call slow may get this new. Far better than the species as a whole, you know. So we don't be too judgmental, because they may look like a rock, but I can assure you they are a gem in the making, which is just not there yet. Okay, right, let's leave this one here, because I think that was what I wanted to share with. Yeah, I think it is. That's my own question, and that was real good. I can leave that there.